Hi, I'm Professor Whitaker, and I'll be teaching the public diplomacy course in the fall. There are three takeaways of this class. The first is an understanding of a little understood term, public diplomacy, which is an instrument used by states, associations of states, and non-state actors to understand cultures, attitudes, and behaviors, to build and manage relationships, and influence thoughts and mobilize actions to advance their interests and values. The second will be an understanding of public diplomacy in its historical and political context. And last, an understanding that there are more players than ever before in public diplomacy, people who are entities engaging with foreign publics. Issues are more complex and more often global, and the communications landscape is faster and more complex and competitive than ever before. As for learning objectives, students in this class will be able to understand concepts, institutions, processes, and tools of public diplomacy. They will understand the factors shaping the practice of public diplomacy today. They'll be able to analyze and evaluate public diplomacy practices by the United States and other public diplomacy actors in the world. And also, they'll learn to apply theory to practice through assignments. This class is important because public diplomacy is one of the least understood components of diplomacy, but it is one that is assuming an increasingly important and prominent role in the world. Students who are interested in rounding out their knowledge of the practice of diplomacy should take this course, as well as those who are interested in learning how public diplomacy is practiced and would like to experiment with some of public diplomacy's tools. I'm a career senior foreign service officer with the Department of State with over 25 years of successful experience in practicing public diplomacy. I've served in multiple public diplomacy assignments overseas. Domestically, I served as Director of Public Diplomacy for the Western Hemisphere, Deputy Assistant Secretary, and Senior Advisor to the Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs. This is a seminar class for the most part, therefore dependent on outside reading and analysis and in-class discussions and exercises. We'll have some guest speakers, all of them practitioners of one aspect of public diplomacy or another. The course will begin with establishing a sound conceptual understanding of the what and the why of public diplomacy, and then move into study the how of how public diplomacy is practiced. We will take an in-depth look at how the United States does public diplomacy, but we'll also look at other nations and actors' practices and strategies. The assignments are reflective of the practical nature of this course. Students will be asked to, for example, write a policy speech before an international audience, to critique the social media presence of a public diplomacy actor, to research and make a presentation on the public diplomacy strategy and tactics of a diplomatic actor, and as a final project, to develop a public diplomacy strategy for a diplomatic actor. If you'd like any more information or have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to email me.